Hello, hello! Welcome to today's live English lesson here on the Speak English with Vanessa YouTube channel. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy week, who knows, maybe relaxing week, to spend some time with English. Today, I'm going to be helping you with some conversational, foundational elements of English. We're going to be practicing a conversation together. By the end of this lesson, you are going to be able to have that conversation more smoothly, more easily. And it is true, I am live right now. This is a live lesson. This is not pre-recorded. So if you are here when this is live, thank you so much. I would love to say hello to everyone who is joining me here. And my first question for you is, please tell me where you're from. I want to see how many wonderful students we have from around the world. Maybe every continent is represented here on this live stream. Let's see. I see Daniel in Colombia. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining me. Christine from Russia. Thanks so much. Rick Deli from Gambia. Welcome. Welcome, Rakib. Thanks for joining me. M&A from the Maldives. Welcome, welcome. Alex from Mexico. Thank you so much for joining me. All right. Now that you have officially joined the live stream lesson here, I want to introduce myself in case you have never learned English with me before, or maybe you're new here. Hi, I'm Vanessa, and it looks like I am wearing the same shirt in this picture because I am. I am an English teacher here on YouTube. I've been teaching English for over 10 years on YouTube, and more than that, 12, 13 years in general, and it is my pleasure to help you learn real daily life English. I know a lot of my students have studied English for a long time, but you're still studying English because what you learned before was not really what you need in real life. Maybe it was just textbook style English, it was unrealistic English, and now you need English for the real world. So that is what I teach you. I teach you expressions, grammar, pronunciation, speaking skills for the real world. Because if you are learning English for travel, if you're learning English for your job, if you're learning English because you have grandchildren who live in an English-speaking country and you want to speak with them, you're going to need real English. So today we're going to be talking about some foundational elements of conversations in English. I'm going to help you have a basic conversation. We're going to practice it together, and I hope that you will take that skill and that confidence boost and move into the real world so that you can actually use English in your daily life. Today, we're going to have a little speaking practice together, and I'm going to be telling you about my beginner course because today is the last day when my beginner course is $100 off. So we're going to be talking about that more at the end of this lesson. But if you find this lesson useful and enjoyable and exactly what you need, well, I encourage you to join me in the beginner course. You can do that by clicking the link in the description, speakenglishwithvanessa.com/live, and you can join us in the beginner course to have this great foundation in English. But I'll tell you more about that later, and I will even give you a little sample in today's lesson. So let's get started. I want to have a little sample conversation with you. We're going to do this part relatively quickly because in a conversation, you have to think quickly. You have to answer questions, think of other questions to ask other people. You have to think quickly. So I'm going to ask you a few questions relatively fast. I want you to write your answers, say them out loud if you can. If you're somewhere where you feel comfortable speaking out loud, try to do that. And then we will go back and take it slow. And I will help you with each question, come up with a great answer and some great vocabulary, some great grammar structure, some great pronunciation, and then we will have the conversation again. And I have a feeling you will do so much better the second time. You will feel so much more comfortable. So, my first question in our conversation, let's imagine that we are sitting down at a coffee shop together. You are drinking your drink of choice. I am drinking my tea, which I love. And I ask you this question. So, what do you like to do in your free time? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to answer. No, I'm going to give you 7 seconds to answer. Are you ready? I want you to write your answer or say it out loud. Oh, that's great. Thank you for telling me. So, how often do you do this activity? I'm going to give you 7 seconds again for you to answer. Are you ready? Thanks for telling me. When are you going to do this activity next? And you got it. You have 7 seconds. I'll give you 8 seconds this time to tell me when are you going to do this activity next. You can write it down. You can say it out loud like a real conversation, and then we're going to go back and practice this. Are you ready? Well, thank you for telling me about an activity that you like to do. I want to know, how did you answer? Could you answer quickly? No problem. Confidently, fluently. You knew exactly what you wanted to say to talk about an activity that you like to do in your free time? If so, congratulations. That's awesome. But if you were a little bit hesitant about what you wanted to say, you weren't quite sure the best way to answer or what you wanted to say, it took a little bit of time to gather your thoughts, that is totally fine. It is extremely normal. You need a moment for your brain to come up with the answers. And I'm going to help you step by step go through these 3 questions. We're going to talk about a vocabulary expression you can use, a grammatical structure you can use, and a pronunciation concept that you can use in your answer to these 3 questions. So you ready to go back? All right, first, before we go, I want to read some of your answers about this. Someone said, I could answer quickly. Okay, great. Wonderful. Excellent. All right, we had some great answers about what you wrote. Okay, well, that's important. Um, all right, English says, I'm all in. I'm going to do this. Okay, great. So we're going to go to the first question. What do you like to do in your free time? So do you see this little picture here? What do you think that I like to do in my free time? Of course, there are lots and lots of options for what you could do in your free time. But this expression, in your free time or in my free time, is comparable to what are your hobbies? But I have found in daily life, we often use this phrase instead. What do you like to do in your free time? Well, I don't have much free time, so I like to just read a book. Or I had a lot of free time this weekend, so I could go on a hike, which is what I'm doing here in this picture. So we use this phrase in my free time. So I would like you to use this in your answer. In my free time, I like to, and let's take a look at a couple answers here. We have quite a few options. These are just some examples. In my free time, I like to go for a run or go for a hike. We can use run and hike by themselves, but in daily life, this phrase is extremely common. What did you do today? Well, I went for a hike. I like to go for a hike. I like to go for a run. It is not true. I do not like to go for a run, but some people do. And we use this full daily life phrase. The next one you might say is, I like to hang out with my sister. I like to hang out with my friends. I like to hang out with my neighbors. I like to hang out with my kids. Maybe you do. So here, these are a couple options, or you might be into sports. If you're into sports, you could use this next phrase. I like to play basketball. I like to play soccer. I like to play football. I like to play baseball. I like to play tennis. But be careful, because look at the next phrase. I like to do yoga. We do not say I like to play yoga. That is incorrect. When we have an individual sport like yoga or Pilates or martial arts, we use the word do. So you can use this here. I like to do yoga. I like to do karate. I like to do martial arts. Or I saw someone mention here, in my free time, I'll go up to your wonderful comment here. Kalpna used this. In my free time, I like to listen to music. Great. So here we're using that full phrase. I like to listen to music. I like to. Excellent. Or you might say, I like to watch movies. Notice this verb here, to watch. We don't say I like to see movies. I like to look at movies. It's always watch. I like to watch movies. Sometimes I wish I liked to watch movies because there's a lot of good movies out there, but I really never watch movies. So if you have a movie recommendation that I should watch, let me know. The final one maybe applies to you as well, is I like to learn English. You're here, so I imagine this might be true. I like to learn English. I'd like to take a moment and see some of your wonderful comments here. Vasna says, it's in my free time, I go for a walk. Beautiful phrase. In Central Park. It's a nice time. And maybe we could add, I can listen to jazz music. Great. So you like to go for a walk and listen to jazz music in Central Park. Lovely time. In my free time, I fancy a cup of coffee with my colleague. Okay, so maybe we could say here, I like to get a cup of coffee. I like to get a cup of coffee. In the US, this is the phrase that we are most likely to say. Do you want to get a cup of coffee? I like to get a cup of coffee with my colleague. Wonderful. Francisca says, in my free time, I like to play video games. Great. So this is the same as to play basketball, to play baseball. We use the same verb, to play video games. Excellent. All right. I'll write a couple more here. M&A says, I like to go for a walk at the beach in my free time. I like how you are using this full phrase, go for a walk. This is one of the instances when if you don't know the full phrase, go for a walk, go for a run, go for a hike, you will understand it when other people say it, but you might not use it when you speak. And I know for me, I am learning French as a second language. I'm a lifelong learner of French as a second language. And there are so many phrases that native French speakers use that I can understand, but I don't use myself because I haven't brought them into my own vocabulary. So this is a phrase that advanced, fluent, native English speakers use all the time. But as an English learner, you probably understand, but you haven't used it yourself. So this is a great one to add to your vocabulary. I like to go for a walk on the beach. Lovely. All right, let's go to the next question in our conversation. How often do you do that activity? Here you can see my children running down the side, running down a path. on a trail that we often go to. And I want to know, how often do you do that activity? So here we are answering the question of frequency. And I'm going to give you a couple common daily life phrases that we use to answer how often. And then I will read some of your wonderful sentences. So we might say, let's take the example of Priscilla says, in my free time, I love spending time studying English. Okay, so to answer, how often do you study English? We could say, in the morning, I study English. In the afternoon, I study English. In the evening, I study English. Or we might be a little more general. Maybe you're not quite so organized and you study in the morning, afternoon, or evening. You could say, on the weekend, at some point, on the weekend, I study English. Or sometimes I study English. Or maybe every day I study English. So here we have a couple options. There are others as well, but these are some great foundational elements of English. These phrases that you can integrate into your sentences to tell me how often you do the activity that you just told me about. So let me know in the comments. Try to use these phrases or others. I will give you feedback on your sentences, and we will try to figure out what is the best way to use these frequency phrases. Jose Mar says, I study English every single day. All right, so you added the word single to talk about absolutely. This gives emphasis, every single day. And thank you for being here. Maybe this is your English study for today. All right, let me read some of your... Oh, we've got lots of really dedicated learners here. Calvin says, I study English every day. Excellent. Francisco says, usually only on the weekends, but it depends on what you have to do that day. So here you're using the phrase on the weekends. And in my opinion, this is an excellent way to learn prepositions. Prepositions are those little tricky words, on, in, for, of. When you have a fixed phrase, on the weekend, you know that on goes with weekend because that is the phrase that you've been practicing again and again. You don't need to specifically remember a rule or something like this. Instead, you're remembering that full phrase, on the weekends. So for Francisco, usually only on the weekends is when he does his activity. Great. All right. I'm going to read a few more of these. Akil says, I go hiking on the weekend. Excellent phrase, on the weekend. Howery says, in the morning, I listen to metal. Is this how you wake up? Dunna, 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 dunna. Love it. Katsura says, I read a story in via OA, learning English every morning. Okay, so this happens for you in the morning. We can say every morning, or we can say in the mornings with an S, because this is something that is continual. In the mornings, I listen to an English story. Excellent. Okay, let's go to our next question in the conversation. When are you going to do it next? But listen to how I ask this question. When are you gonna do it next? I'm combining going and to create gonna. This is a common spoken reduction in English. We're going to make going to gonna. We're cutting off the G, and the word to just becomes gonna. When are you gonna do it next? So I challenge you, as you write your sentence talking about when you are gonna do it next, I want you to speak out loud and use this type of natural pronunciation. Read your answer out loud. I'm going to be reading some of your answers. You're going to be repeating or shadowing directly after me to practice your speaking skills. And we are going to be using it using it together. So I see Jose Cruz says, I'm going to do it this afternoon. So we can say it really clearly. I am going to do it this afternoon. But let's use this reduction, right? So say it with me. I'm gonna do it this afternoon. Say it with me. We've got two reductions actually. I am becomes I'm, and going to becomes gonna. I'm gonna do it this afternoon. I'm gonna do it this afternoon. All right, let's read some of your other sentences, and we will use this exact same pronunciation as well. Gaku says, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. Great, let's say this together. I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I'm gonna do it tomorrow. Great work. Make sure you are not saying going to. We're just using that reduction. Extremely common. You can use this in daily life. You can use this in the workplace. We use this pretty much any time that we speak. Oh, we have a lucky duck here. I'm going to go bake a cake right now. Well, we're going to all visit your house. M&A says, I'm gonna go bake a cake. I'm gonna go bake a cake right now. Excellent. So, as we talk about gonna, I want to let you know that sometimes in text messages, I would say informal emails. If you're emailing a client, do not write this, but in informal writing, a comment on the YouTube section and in the YouTube comments, absolutely, this is okay. You can write this reduction. There are a lot of reductions in English. A lot of those we get into in the beginner course and in my intermediate and advanced level courses as well. And a lot of reductions we do not write. We only speak them. But this reduction, we can write in some informal situations. So if you're writing a comment on one of my YouTube lessons on YouTube, you are welcome to say gonna. I'm gonna keep studying English with you, Vanessa. I hope so. Or you can use this G-O-N-N-A, gonna, in a text message or an informal email, just to let you know that there is an appropriate time to write this reduction. All right, we are going to do this again. We're going to say these sentences out loud together. I want you to use exactly the type of vocabulary, sentence structure, and pronunciation that we just talked about. And I think that it's going to go smoother and more fluently than before. So are you ready? Let's try to say this out loud together. I'm going to give you 7 seconds to answer each of these questions as if it were a conversation. So here we are at our cafe. So tell me, what do you like to do in your free time? Oh, that's great. Well, I like to go for a hike in my free time personally. Tell me, how often do you do that activity? That's so nice. Well, for me, I probably go for a hike twice a month, usually on the weekends. I'm curious, when are you gonna do it next? Oh, that sounds great. So for me, I'm gonna go for a hike directly after this conversation. We're gonna go into the mountains and enjoy some nature. Okay, so now that we had our sample conversation, you told me about your free time activity, and I told you about mine. And it's true, after this live lesson, we are going to go hiking. I'm so excited. I want to know, how did you do? Did you feel more comfortable answering? Maybe the first time was totally easy for you, no problem. If it was not totally easy for you the first time, how was it the second time? Did you feel a little bit more prepared like you had some tools to be able to answer these questions, because you're not going to be able to practice word for word, sentence for sentence, question for question, every conversation before it happens. But when you practice common conversation topics, common conversation sentence constructions, pronunciation concepts, you will have so many excellent tools in your English toolbox so that when you have a conversation in English, you'll be able to pull out the vocabulary and the natural pronunciation that you have already practiced. That's the goal, right? We have a lovely idea here. Yes, share deja vu. Preparation helps. Absolutely. And that's what I try to help you here with, help you here on my YouTube channel, is to prepare you with real life English. So we talk about a lot of real life conversation topics, real life vocabulary, real life pronunciation. And that is going to help you have this confident foundation so that you can go into the real world. And if this is helpful for you, I would like to give you a great next step. Arnolfo says, this time I did it quickly. Hooray! Wonderful. Congratulations on your progress in just, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Wonderful. That's excellent. So now that we have practiced improving your conversation skills in one aspect, I would like to ask you a bigger question. We're going to zoom out. We've been in the trees. Now we're going to zoom out and look at the forest of English. I want to know, how would your life change if you could speak English clearly and confidently? Every time you had a conversation, you felt so capable. You did not feel nervous. You didn't feel like you needed to hesitate. Other people felt just comfortable talking with you. I feel like this is the sign of fluency, when other people feel really comfortable talking with you. They're not trying to change their language and the vocabulary that they use so that they can have a conversation with you. They feel completely comfortable talking with you because they know you've got the words that you need when you want to say them. So I want to know for you, tell me, how would your life change? Would you be able to get a better job? Would you be able to travel to New York City and walk around Central Park listening to jazz music? Would you be able to study? Maybe you're wanting to get your master's degree. You'd be able to go back to school, get that degree, and then get a job that is better paying because you have a better education. Or maybe it's simply been your lifelong dream to finally not be scared about speaking English. You want to do better than that. And this is your chance. So I want to know for you, what will help you to be able to, or what would your life be like? Tell me about the things that you would love. Yes. Wrong him. Did I say that correctly? Said, I can watch YouTube without subtitles. No hassle. Oh, wouldn't that be great? Subtitles are a great tool, but it's so great to be able to move beyond that and just watch without subtitles, especially because real life conversations don't have subtitles. So when you can understand movies and TV shows without subtitles, you can understand real conversations as well. English says, I would go to all of the countries by myself. All right, so you would get a round trip ticket around the world if you could speak English clearly and confidently. And I think this is a good point. Travel is so much easier when you can communicate better in English. You don't need to go to the US or an other English-speaking country. You could go to any other country that doesn't speak your native language, and you will need to use English. If you are Japanese and you visit Germany, well, you're going to need to use English. If you are Brazilian and you go to Italy, well, you're going to need to use English. Of course, you should learn a few Italian phrases. That's just polite. But the truth is, you're probably going to use English more than your limited Italian knowledge. So it is essential for travel and it makes it so much more fun. Um, oh, interesting. James says, I would be a world citizen. Yes. Yeah, we all have something that connects us when we can speak together. You can connect with people from any background, any culture. It doesn't matter because you can have language in common. Be a world citizen. I like that idea. Katsura says, I could read a lot of books. Great idea. I love reading, and it is true. There are so many books in English, and there's a lot of books that are translated, of course, but when you can access all of the books in English, even all websites in English, the majority of the internet is in English, so your world opens up. That is absolutely true. So I would like to invite you to take the next step because I want you to be able to be a world citizen, speak confidently, travel easily. This is a life goal, right? And in order to do that, if you are stuck at a beginner level, you cannot have conversations in English. It makes your hands get sweaty, your heart pound out of your chest. You know some English, but it's been so long since you have actually used English. You need to review the foundational concepts of English. Well, this is an excellent opportunity for you to grow a strong foundation in English with the beginner English course. In this course, you're going to practice using and speaking English. You will use real words that we use really in daily life, just like we practiced today. This was a little sneak peek. And the important thing, I think, is that these lessons are created so that you are not wasting your time. I have a lot of students that say, I've been watching YouTube videos for years and years, and I don't know if I'm improving. That is the benefit of the beginner English course. You will have a step-by-step plan helping you to move to the next level. Over 3 months, you will be able to work through all of the beginner English course lessons, and you will have a plan. I have created this plan, this path for you, so that you're not randomly choosing lessons here and there. You follow the plan, you work through all the lessons, do the exercises, connect with other people. We'll talk about that in a minute, and you will be able to improve your English from the beginner level to the intermediate level. I do want to give a quick note. If you are an intermediate English learner, this is B2 level, I challenge you, if you have some gaps in your fundamentals of English, maybe you're not quite so sure about some sentence constructions, not quite so sure about some of those basic words that maybe you missed that day in school a long time ago. This beginner English course can help to give you a good foundation so that you really can spring up and be a strong intermediate and advanced English learner. So this is for beginners, but if you are an intermediate learner who questions a bit, I think there's a lot that I just make mistakes with that are beginner concepts. This course could be for you as well. We have some wonderful students. Ildiko says, this course is fantastic. I like the most that you teach us real English. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this live stream, that is absolutely the goal of all Speak English with Vanessa lessons here on YouTube, in my courses, real English. Everything that I teach you is what real people use in real life. Helly says, this is the best course I've ever had. I mean, Helly, that is amazing. I'm so happy for you. I know that we can study lessons here and there, maybe buy a book, buy a worksheet. download a course, and sometimes you don't find something that's a good fit for you, but Helly has had a great experience. I'm so glad. The best course I've ever had. That makes me so happy. She said, I like the way you teach, and now I feel confident to talk in English. For me, as an English teacher, this makes my heart very happy that she has confidence. Yes, she has better vocabulary. Yes, she has better grammar. Yes, she has better pronunciation, but her confidence makes all of those things possible. So before we go on to the next thing, if you would like to join the beginner English course, you can go to the link in the description, speakenglishwithvanessa.com/live, and get $100 off. Let's talk about it in just a minute. But first, I have a question for you. How long have you been learning English? Tell me in the comments. I imagine for some of you, it has been quite long. Some of you, maybe not so long. Let me know, how long have you been learning English? For me, for my second language, French, I have been learning French since 2009, so quite a while. And in my own experience, there have been ups where my French experience and my French speaking skills are great, and there have been times where they have not been so great. I've lost some vocabulary, lost some confidence, some experience, and then gained that back. So your journey might be the same as mine, a little bit of a roller coaster. But I'm curious, how long have you been learning English? Kanuga says it's been 10 years. Wow. Demuthu says 3 months. Excellent. Emino says, I've been practicing English for 7 months. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Rose says about 4 years. Okay. Mine says, I've been learning English for about 1 year. Okay. Oh my, I think we might have the winner here. DM Kong says about 30 years. Congratulations. Thank you for being here. I'm sure you have had that same experience. Lots of ups and downs, ups and then downs, and then highs and lows. So thank you for continuing your journey. Joel says 1 year. Wonderful. Thanks for joining me. I've been learning English for over 10 years, including in school. Okay. And I know everyone has different experiences in school, after school, in the real world, learning English. But I thank you for trusting me with your English time because I want to help you be able to truly level up your English skills. And I'd like to go through what exactly happens in the beginner English course so that you can see if this is a good fit for you. Whether you have been learning English for 30 years or just a few months, if you consider yourself a beginner, this is going to be A2, B1 level in the European framework. This course is going to be a good level, but let's go through how we study in the course, how exactly you can level up your English skills and build a strong foundation. So in the course, we use the 4-step method. I'm going to go through each of those steps and we'll take a look at it here. The first step is to watch an easy to follow conversation. In these conversations, my husband, Dan, and I use daily life scenes, and we have designed these for beginners, just like you, if you're a beginner. So in these lessons, you will see a conversation, for example, at a coffee shop, a conversation about chores, a conversation planning a travel trip. These scenes have been designed just for beginners because, take a look at step number 2, is within those conversations, in the next lessons, you will learn some simple vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation. Those conversations include all of that, and I will teach you in the other lessons the vocabulary used in that conversation, how to use it yourself, the grammar, the foundational grammar concepts, and how to use that yourself. the pronunciation that was used in those conversations and how to use that yourself. We are going to be practicing that step by step in step number 2 so that you can use that with confidence and go out into the real world. Now, step 3 in the beginner English course is to quiz yourself. Test yourself and see if you've really learned what you've been studying. It's great to review, test yourself, go back, test yourself again, and make sure that you can remember what you've learned, because I'm sure, as you know, as an English learner, it is hard to remember. So this course has been designed to help you with repetition, help you remember what you've studied, practice what you've studied so that it can stick in your brain and be ready to use whenever you have a conversation in English. Now, before we get to step number 4, my favorite, I have a question for you. Have you ever had a hard time staying motivated to learn English? Maybe you've just had a really busy month, a lot is going on, and then you realize, oh, I just have not studied English for over a week. Or maybe you feel super excited about a new English book that you got. You started to read a few pages and then you just lost motivation. Something else came up in your life. Has this ever happened to you? DM Kong says, always. Imanol is better than all of us. Never. And that's fine. Teach us your tricks. HK Na says, yes, I have had a difficult time staying motivated. Every day. Every day. This is a good point. I lose motivation when I feel like my English isn't improving. Okay, when you feel like you're stuck, then you lose motivation and you need to see improvement. That is absolutely true. And I have a suggestion. If you have a hard time staying motivated, I would like to introduce you to step number 4 in the 4-step method for the beginner English course. You can join our community. The key is together is better. Together, you stay motivated. When you are just watching a YouTube video, when you're studying on your own in your bedroom, in your office, in your living room, you have no accountability. But when you join our community, you have accountability. Accountability means you know other people who are helping you to reach your goal, and you are helping them to reach their goal as well. So in this community, every week I host a live streamed lesson like this, but we are focused on the lesson part. And every week you can join me for the live stream lesson, and you can join other members as well. So you can ask me questions directly. I will answer them. I will give you feedback on your sentences, on your improvement, and other members in the community will as well. So this together is better method is the key to staying motivated in my experience. When we practice together, we will stay motivated and also realize language is for communication, right? We communicate in language. If you are not connected and communicating with other people in English, you're going to forget why you were learning English in the first place. But when you know, oh, I have a community of other English learners, I have Vanessa's weekly lesson, I am going to stay motivated because we are doing this together. And that's the goal. So I have a question for you. When was the last time you had a real conversation in English? Maybe you work at a company where one of your coworkers is an English speaker and you have to speak in English with that coworker. Maybe you approached a stranger who looked lost and you helped to give them directions. Maybe you just went on a trip to Spain and you don't speak Spanish, so you needed to speak English and you had a conversation in English. Let me know, when was the last time that you had a real conversation in English? Okay. So Sushma says, in my school, I had a real English conversation. Excellent. Excellent. 2 months ago with my language exchange friend. Oh, wonderful. I'm glad you have a real person to talk to. 2 months ago is quite a long time ago, but it still probably was a nice experience. Beta says, with my English teacher on Wednesday. Great. So this is my overall suggestion for all my English learners is you need to be speaking in English minimum one time every week for about 30 minutes. So if Beata is speaking with her English teacher on Wednesdays, this is it. This is exactly what you need. Every week you need to be speaking for at least 30 minutes with someone else. But the question is, what if you don't have an English teacher to speak to on Wednesdays? What if you don't have, I saw here a business trip to Dallas? um, what if you don't have that option? Like here, right now, I speak English only with myself, unfortunately. What if you don't have someone else to speak with? Well, I have some good news, something very exciting. There are two bonuses in the beginner English course, and one of those includes weekly speaking groups. That's right. You do not have to worry about finding someone in your city to talk with. You don't have to worry about having an awkward conversation with your coworker, inviting them out to a restaurant. You have a built in community to have weekly speaking practice with each other. So, here you can grow your English speaking skills and make friends with other people in the community. Our wonderful English learners speak together multiple times per week, all different time zones, and connect together to practice. Because, like I said, together is better. Now, this is a bonus, which means that speaking together, usually speaking practice is quite expensive, but here I have included this in the course. You get access to the speaking groups for free because it is essential for improving your English. And a second way that you can practice your speaking skills, I have included in the beginner English course, beginner friendly speaking practice. What does this mean? This means that we have a structured question and answer time when you can practice speaking without any pressure. In these videos, I ask a question and then I pause and you have a chance to answer. Then I ask another question and I pause and you have a chance to answer. But the key here is that all of the questions and all of your answers are based on what you just studied in the course. So you should be totally prepared to answer those questions. To me, this is the ultimate test. Maybe you can answer a multiple choice question test. Okay, but can you answer a conversation test? This is like a conversation test almost. What you learned in the course, can you apply it to a conversation? So these structured, no pressure conversations are a great way to practice speaking. No one else is listening except for my magical teacher ears. I can hear you anywhere. You can practice with these speaking videos, and then you can take it to the next level, which is go to the weekly speaking groups and speak with other people. So if you're someone who is extremely shy, really nervous about the idea of speaking with other people, these beginner friendly speaking practices have been designed to help you have no pressure, no stress, just practice speaking together. If you would like to join the beginner English course, you can go to speakenglishwithvanessa.com/live and you will be able to join for $100 off. Only until the end of the day today. I will tell you about that in just a minute. Let's take a look I want to make sure that this is working well. We can take a look here at what some of our wonderful beginner students said. Asar says, thank you for sharing real English for beginners. And this is tricky, right? Because native English speakers are not beginners, but I have condensed real English into a beginner-friendly level so that you can jumpstart your English and take it to the next level. Vladimir says this is really useful for beginner English students, and I guess for many other English students as well. Great explanations, very clear pronunciation. I'm so glad that this is true for you. And as well for our lovely student, Elaine. Elaine says, "What surprised me even more in the course was the wonderful community and the opportunity to meet and interact with so many friends from around the world. What allows us to feel motivated and learning English." You know this word gung ho? It means excited about learning English. And here you can feel motivated by, like interacting with friends around the world, a wonderful community that supports each other. Together, it's better, right? Uh, so I would like to tell you, um, the beginner English course at speakenglishwithvanessa.com/live. It includes inside the course, it includes step-by-step English lessons for conversation, vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, and speaking lessons as well. This beginner-friendly speaking practice that I mentioned, where you can practice speaking without stress, without the pressure of someone watching you, and it is a great way to build those confidence muscles. And you can come to these weekly live stream lessons that I host every week. You can ask me questions directly, and I can give you some answers. And the great thing is you will be able to jump to the intermediate level in 3 months. You can complete this course, join the weekly live stream lessons, join the weekly and your skills, your English level in 3 months will jump to the intermediate level, and you can join us in our intermediate courses. But I do wanna let you know, because this is a an organized course, this course includes 3 months worth of lessons. You can study all the lessons in 3 months, but you will have lifetime access. This is essential in our modern age where maybe you are implementing the course and you have to go on a business trip. Well, you can't study at the same level as you have been. Maybe you don't have the amount of time each day, so you need to set it aside your business trip and study again. That's okay. You have lifetime access. You can always go back and review these lessons whenever you want. Usually, this course is $199, but right now until midnight tonight, New York time, I don't know what time zone you're in, but in the New York time zone, so in about 12 hours, for about 12 hours, you can get $100 off. That means the full price of this course is $99. You get lifetime access our community, weekly speaking groups, weekly live streams, and these beginner-friendly speaking practices, and this is $100 off only for today, till midnight tonight for the next 12 hours. So you can click on the link in the description. You can see it here as well, this link right there. Speakenglishwithvanessa.com/live. Until we go to my next thing, I would like to know, do you have any questions for me? Ask me any question about the beginner English course, and I would like to help you. While you're thinking about your question, I would like to, um, right out here oh, it sounds like there is maybe a sound problem, that's probably just the internet. Um, I would like to answer some of your questions. English with Rushkata says, "How long does it take?" The course lasts for 3 months, and it is and it's something that you have lifetime access to. So you can go back and review at any time, but the lessons are designed to take you about 3 months to complete. Great question. My question is, do you have any plans for IELTS students? So this course, if you are studying for IELTS, this course will help you practice your foundational speaking skills. It will help you to have confidence for the speaking portion of the IELTS exam. Of course, if you need to study for the IELTS exam that's coming next month, you need to study specifically IELTS courses and for this format, but this course will help to give you a great foundation. Okay, LM says, thank you, Vanessa, for all your commitment to us. Well, thank you so much for your kindness. I have a few quick common questions I would like to answer. One is, what is the refund policy? So this is a question I often get, and this is a question I often ask when I am purchasing something, because I want to know, if this is not a good fit for me, what can I do? Well, I offer a 30-day money-back guarantee for all my courses, and this means simply send me an email, and I will send you a refund right away. Just say, Vanessa, this course is not a good fit for me. No problem. When I see that email, I will click refund and your money will go back to you. This is no hassle. I want to make sure that it is just an easy decision for you, because it should be a good fit for you if you want to build your foundational English skills and have a strong foundation in English. If you have found that what we've practiced in today's lesson is helpful for you, then this is something that you can build upon in the beginner English course. You will do this again and again and again in the beginner English course, and I am sure that it will be a great fit. But if it is not, we have a 30-day money-back guarantee. No problem at all. All right, so do you have any questions? Any other questions for me? How can I pay for your course? Great question. So you can pay online with a credit card or PayPal. These are the options that are available on the course website. And if you do not have access to those, I invite you to join my YouTube channel where you are right now, because I have over 500 free English lessons here on YouTube. So the beginner English course is going to guide you in a very clear direction towards the intermediate level. And you can pay for this. That I have organized. I've spent lots of effort and time and skills and knowledge to make this a path from the beginner to the intermediate level. And if you do not have an availability or an option to pay, there are so many free English lessons that I offer, and I think that will be helpful for you as well. Let's take a look at any other questions. Kasara says, thank you very much. You're so kind. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And if you would like to join the beginner English course to get $100 off only until midnight tonight, you can join with this link here, speakenglishwithvanessa.com/live. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. Thank you for learning English with me. I hope to see you inside the beginner English course. It would be my pleasure to see you in our weekly live stream lessons. Our students would love to meet you in our weekly speaking groups, and I would love for you to be able to have a strong foundation in English, to build upon that, to jumpstart you to be able to be an intermediate, advanced, and fluent English speaker. So thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you again the next time. Bye.